And it's how you approach the witness after that. And I've had a couple situations over the years where I've run into that. And it's, right out of the gate that if you do find an explanation for it, I'm not saying that I will, but if you do, the witness may not be acceptable of it right out of the gate. And I had a situation where a video was sent to me to review, and it came in a way that was being considered very high profile. The individual who reached out to me had a much higher position in MUFON. I won't say who it was, but the video was received by MUFON. The individual reviewed it. They said it was very, very unique. They identified a number of things in it, but it still needed much more research to be done, which is true. When I got the video, I reached out and contacted the witness, Barbara, and I had those signs come up right away. Well, I know this is absolutely not a satellite. I know this is absolutely not a planet. I had somebody on a television show, on a UFO television show that was on at that time frame, tell me that this is one of the best videos they'd ever seen. Now, the thing that you can have there, too, is I'm not saying that the words that they got from the person on the television show were exactly accurate. They might have been taken out of context. I don't know because I wasn't there with both of them at the same time when he had the discussion. But per the witness's story, he was being told that this is one of the best videos ever of a UFO, and this needed to be put on television. But when I looked at it, what we had on there was a star-like object. And this is where you knew you're in trouble right out of the gate, Barbara. This star-like object was stationary in the sky for quite a period of time. Now, I'm not saying UFO can't be stationary, but the second thing he said is during the interview, he says, well, it's come back to me night after night after night in basically the same area of the sky.
Okay.
And I said, well, how many nights? He said, well, at least 3 to 4 nights, but it's calling me out of my house to go look at it. I said, it's calling? He says, yes, it's summoning me outside of my house to look at it. And he had videos of each different night. Well, when he sent me the video, one of the things I did is, even without the need of social distancing, Henry, I incorporated social distancing. So I went back. I knew where he lived at. I utilized the tool I mentioned earlier, Google Earth. And I put myself standing exactly where he was at when he took his video. Next thing I did is, okay, here's his video. I used Google Earth to locate, all the basic landmarks. Then I went one step farther and I said, okay, night after night after night, most likely what he's seeing is a planet. So I went back and I pulled up Stellarium, which I use, which is an astronomy software. I was able to put myself exactly where he was standing at with my software, duplicate the times and dates when he had his sightings. And this is when you have one of these, let's just say WTF moments. And in this case, he was looking at Venus every night. And when I approached him about it, all I heard was somebody completely go off on me. I thought you guys were legitimate investigators. I thought you were serious researchers. This guy in this television show told me that this is a UFO. It's one of the best he's ever seen. Well, to begin with, the guy on the television show is not a UFO researcher. He was an actor. He was not a researcher whatsoever. He was an actor that was put in the show to fill a part. So that's the first problem that he had. He was believing somebody who had no knowledge of the subject really whatsoever, other than basically reading a cue card. That's what he was put there for. The second thing is I don't know whether what the guy told him was taken out of context or not. I don't know, because he was bound to determine that this thing had to be something completely out of this world. But then something else that was kind of, okay, it was humorous, I'll have to say. More than humorous, really, when he reviewed a video over and over again. But at one point, he's out filming this, and his wife goes, "That looks like a star to me." And he goes, no, it's not a star. She goes, "Okay, shut up, he's happy." And she was believing it was a star or planet the whole time. But as long as he was happy, she didn't care, and what he thought it was. She didn't care whatsoever. But, that was a situation where I was uncomfortable, just because of the fact that he was so determined.
So adamant.
To say the least, that this is exactly what it was. It was something from out of this world. And if you disagreed with him, that was not going to be good.
No.
You got that opinion right out of the gate. And the thing is, those are few and far between. So when you do your investigations, you just have to, reach out, make contact with the witness. And the bulk of people are very receptive. They just want to know what they might have seen. That's basically it. But occasionally you run into that person. And when you also hear that the person, let's say, has several hundred videos of UFOs, it's like either they're a UFO magnet, or maybe what they're seeing isn't a UFO. It's something commonplace. And we've had somewhere in this area where one individual was filming boat lights, lights on Lake Erie, boat lights, that said he was seeing UFOs. And as a matter of fact, the same guy, I was able to get him to send me one of his videos that he thought was so concrete. And when you looked at the video, when you boosted the volume on it and cleaned the volume up, you could hear the drone of an aircraft engine. And it was taken at night, and the three lights were marker lights off of a Cessna 152. And I was able to track down pilots in that region who basically said, yeah, they know different ones who do training exercises at night out here, fly at night for training to get practice in. And they even identified the aircraft for me. But this same individual gets a lot of airtime just because of the fact that he's seen so many unusual things. But when you really look at the substance behind what he's seeing, is a lot of stuff is identified, but it's the way he promotes it.
Wow. I got a question from the chat room. It is from Tabby Cat, and she wanted to know, why do you think the U.S. Air Force has released so many UFO encounters recently, and why do it now?
Well, that's a good question, because when the story broke about the Nimitz that we've talked about on some of the past episodes, the story broke back in 2017 about the encounters with USS Nimitz back in 2004 and 2005, a video that came out from the cameras on board the aircraft. And then there are a couple more videos that came out that were later identified to be from the Teddy Roosevelt from 2014, 2015. Well, the videos that came out were reported to have been released. Well, there's something I didn't feel quite right about that. Something didn't seem quite right. And they came out from a group called To the Stars Academy, which is basically overseen by a rock singer called Tom DeLonge, who was in a rock group called Blink-182. He's got his own UFO group now. He's actually got a number of very good individuals involved with him, very serious individuals, who have very good knowledge of engineering and other subjects. So he's put together a good team underneath of him. But these videos came out, and one of the individuals who was talking about the videos, his name was Luis Elizondo, who actually headed a group for the Pentagon, according to what he said, that did UFO research. The group is typically referred to as ATIP, Advanced Aerial Threat Identification Program, one of those military terms. Well, he said that, hey, I ran this group for X number of years, and the reason that came out was a story in the Washington Post, or I'm sorry, New York Times. The New York Times brought the story out. The New York Times is doing some research about some things they'd heard. They found out that the Pentagon had been funding a project for doing research of this program that was called ATIP. Well, they did this research. They found out who reportedly ran the program, who was Luis Elizondo. And out of nowhere, like we talked about before, these videos pop up, and they come out through To the Stars Academy. Well, Luis Elizondo, the program with the Pentagon was funded for about 5 years. Reportedly, the funding ran out, but it didn't mean the program stopped. The funding ran out. Elizondo left right around that 2017 timeframe, 2018 timeframe. He actually joined To the Stars Academy as one of their members, and these videos came out through them. Well, he said that the videos had been properly vetted and properly cleared, but as individuals dug into it, and I shouldn't say individuals, but yeah, there actually were a number of individuals. Some of them found out that they were questioning whether the videos were truly cleared for public use. One of the documents that came out through a FOIA request showed that the videos were cleared for internal use at the Pentagon for like briefing sessions, training sessions, etc. at the Pentagon, but not for public. Well, they get out to public, they get on national news, CNN, Fox, all the other networks. They become a big story. The story fades, they come back again. They fade, they come back again. And really getting on to Kat's question on there, I think what happened is when the videos initially came out, they weren't properly cleared for the public. They had been cleared for internal use, but then the Pentagon got pushed into the point that they had to say, okay, the videos are out. What do we do now? So they basically reviewed them, said, okay, there's nothing of national security that's on these videos that is going to be damaging. So let's just go ahead and say, okay, well, officially let it go. Because I think they're just kind of pushed back into a corner because they'd become so public. Well, now they're truly cleared, and all they really say is, these videos are from fighter jets. These videos are something that we don't necessarily know what it is. Or at least they're not admitting that they know what it is. They're not saying it's an alien craft. But one of the comments that one of the guys even made was questioning whether it was a drone.